Looks like this thing's on. Taking another good drink.
Sip, sip. Sip, sip from the cup.
Alright, good evening. Welcome to another sit down with Scuba and the Rye Guy.
Rye guy, the only kind of guy that has the rye in the front.
You know, if we had a pun jar for some of these, we might actually be able to fund a trip to like ComicCon with the help.
Hey, we'll
with
be
some
able
of
to
those.
get there. We'll get there, pushing away. You know.
Oh yeah, we'll get there. I'm sure we'll get there. It's
wagon and tires somehow. Somewhere.
Wagons East or Wagons West,
whichever way you want to go.
What was the movie? Wagons East was wasn't Wagons East that one of the last ones that one of the ones that Chris Farley did, where it was like they went to California to like, oh, screw this, we're going back to the East Coast.
Yes. Yeah, he's just like, let's go. Oh wait, nah, let's go back. You know?
Yeah. All right. Well, what you been up to, man?
Nothing, just busy. That's the king of the road right now is busyness.
Is it just because it's summer, or is it lack of activities?
Work related.
Okay.
Just super busy.
Oh yeah, you've been doing some training stuff. Is that all wrapped up?
Oh well, the main training is wrapped up, but then there's also sit downs and reviews and summaries and.
Life of an instructor, I get it.
Oh yes, but other than that, we ordered the Pacquiao fight over the weekend.
Oh, how'd that go?
He won by split decision.
That good or bad?
That's good.
Okay.
It was a really close fight, so it definitely was worth the judge vote where it did the split decision. But I believe, based on his Pacquiao knocking him down in the first round and him doing more damage, then got him the leverage to win. But then again, I'm not a super boxing expert, but you know.
My boxing expertise stems from what I know of the Rocky movies and other various independent films that all featured boxing. But I don't know, me personally, I'm kind of, and our time watching MMA, but listen, me personally, I like, if you can't knock him out, you can't win. But I guess...
Yeah, well, judging is all about landing punches and power punches and, you know, counters
which I get it, because
technique.
It's less about getting hurt and hurting yourself. I mean, look at all the great boxers of yore. It's like they didn't have those things. It was, you either knocked the guy out...
Yes.
...or you didn't.
Oh, yeah.
It was very clear.
That's probably why a lot of people have navigated over toward MMA, just because of the versatility of the fighters.
Oh, yeah. MMA is pretty sick. I mean...
Oh, yeah.
You got a Power Ranger who's doing MMA now, so hey.
Hey, you know, Green Ranger's always been on the edge.
Yeah.
Edge of something.
Wow. Yeah, it's pretty interesting on that. But anything else you've been up to?
Other than that, no. Just got my car inspected, so it's good to go. Thanks to my girlfriend Angelica for reminding me. If I didn't, I probably would have got a ticket in the next week. So, you know,
well, especially
good
especially with the way you drive.
Yes. And I have a red car, so it's more glaring when it's going down the road.
Big neon, catch me.
But yeah, other than that, I did start playing a new game.
What's that?
Octopath Traveler. It's a JRPG for the Switch. It came out last year, but I held off on getting it because JRPGs, if anybody knows, are time-consuming. So I thought it was okay to put in another time-consuming game on top of the plethora of time-consuming games I got.
Yeah, but again, you have the Switch, so it's not like you can't take it with you.
Which is a benefit, because it's another time-consuming game I can take on the go.
That's one of the things and that's one of those things when I think about time-consuming games, especially like whether it's The Witcher, Fallout, JRPGs. Unless if you're sitting in front of the console and you play, it's great. But once you get up and say life interferes.
Damn life.
And then it's like you come back and it could be a day, it could be a week, it could be 6 months, and it's like mechanics hard buttons.
I am very guilty of that with various games in my past gaming life, where I come back to the game and I had to sit there for like 10 minutes to figure out the controls, or not only that, but figure out where the heck was I when I left off.
Oh,
especially if it's an open world game, you have to reanalyze the map and be like, all right, so I did this and that, and I gotta save that person, but maybe not, you know.
Yeah, I did that. That happened to me with Fallout. I did the first. It's like this one playthrough of Fallout, and as I put it down, came back to it like 6 months later, and it's like I saved and I was inside the mech suit, and I'm like, how do I get out of the mech suit?
Oh yes.
Why is it dark? Why are people shooting at me? I don't know what's going on.
Save me from this life. So yeah, there's probably a lot of games, if I go back, I'll have to think about it, like Metal Gear Solid 5 or the Resident Evil 2 remake.
Oh yeah.
If I drop back into those games, I'm gonna have to sit there and stare and like, okay, what was I doing, and now where do I have to go? And if there's any wild card enemies coming out, I'll definitely have to be on my toes.
Oh, definitely. So, as for me, last weekend had the adult crew over for D&D. Didn't have them last month because of... Oh, why didn't we? Well, something happened last month. We couldn't get together. I think it was because it was Father's Day, or yeah, I think last month was Father's Day, so we didn't get together. But we got together on Sunday, and that was a interesting session. The party was still in the town of Thunder Tree. They're still searching buildings.
Okay.
Two of them had somehow convinced the druid who lived in the town to join the party to come and search these buildings. And another three were investigating the old barracks, and they came down, and then one other person went off on her own and decided to go check out what turned out to be the local tavern. And obviously, and she crept around, got in. The zombies in the building start waking up. She tries to book it out of there, and then as she's just running, she disturbs a group of enemies. And when they lurch at her, she's like, "Fly!" because she plays a tiefling with wings. So fly, and then flies away. And then as she's trying to escape, and they're following, she's like, "Can I stealth?" I'm like, "No." you were just like, "Oh crap!" Fly in the air, fly away. But they got together, they got through it, and now they're making their way toward Neverwinter, and that's where we'll pick up in September, because we won't do a game next month, because I'll be going to Wisconsin to visit my grandmother. She's turning 90 this year.
That's yeah. You driving up?
Yeah, we're gonna leave out on Thursday, drive up, spend the weekend, and then drive back. And when we get back, we have optometry appointments Tuesday afternoon. So yeah, it'll be fun.
That's a quick trip to Wisconsin and back.
We put in plenty of time. It's the drive out there is only about 18,
not too much,
15, 18 hours, but we're budgeting 36 to 48 hours for driving. Yeah. So plenty of time to just kind of cruise, which would be good, because the first time since I started working at my job within the company, although I've just shifted positions, but in the almost 10 years I've worked there, I've never taken a trip. I've
never remembered you taking a trip, so yeah, that's probably true.
Never took a trip, never went anywhere. My last major trip that I did is I drove to Seattle, Washington, spent 2 months in downtown Seattle, and drove back. In shame. But that was the last time I really went cross country. I did do a couple of short ones, but that was because two of my grandparents did pass away.
Okay.
It's like one passed away at New Year's, another one passed away around Valentine's. So it's like, run up there, do that, come back.
Yeah, I'm familiar with long trips. Doing the trips to Miami plenty of times.
That's not a long trip. That's an afternoon.
It's a long trip for me.
Yeah, you got to cross the Mississippi, and then it counts as a long trip.
One day. That's a bucket list item. One day.
You've never driven west across the Mississippi?
No. That's a bucket list item. I need some time off to do that.
Dude, South Dakota, there's a mall that's kind of like an outdoor mall. I can't remember the name of it. I know somebody's going to remind me, but this place is just wacky, crazy fun.
That is on my way. So
There's a friend of mine. A friend of mine recommended I stop there when I drove out, and I stopped, and it was totally worth it. Jackalobes everywhere.
Bucket list dream is to drive to Seattle, come down, and back across.
So you want to go north to Seattle, and then down California,
and then
across the Southwest.
Southwest or Midway, somewhere in there. Either San Francisco across or
The Southwest
LA
drive
across.
isn't bad. I did that when I came across from Arizona.
I might do the middle way just because I have cousins in Denver.
Hey, I don't think I've been to Colorado. I know I definitely haven't traveled through the Northeast.
I've flown over Colorado.
Oh yeah, flown
But
over
that's
Colorado
about
a few
it.
times, but yeah. So, other than that, it was more volunteering at the airsoft field, which is always fun. And the kids have been out there. The kids are having a good time. So
Does get any more kills?
she got a few, but we last Saturday we did it was so hot. I mean, people were dropping, but nobody seriously hurt, which is good. But we ended up doing this red versus blue or tape no tape thing where each team had a VIP they had to get from their starting point to a building. Now the team was on, they made her the VIP. And then the other team picked somebody else to be their VIP. And the idea is the VIP had to get into position and had to be there for 10 minutes. They survived for 10 minutes, they were good. Now if they were shot, they couldn't go back to the respawn. They had to stay where they were shot and be medicked. Both teams got their VIPs to the building. Both teams got 9 minutes till end. To the last minute, both teams got their VIPs killed. So it's like
Logically speaking,
well, the notate team, their VIP was killed 90 seconds before the 10-minute mark. So sitting there, and the rest of them, so she stayed there pretty much the next 20 or 30 minutes waiting for her team to come back to revive her. It was put up on her building 30 seconds before the 10-minute mark. She's shot, and her team all has to go back, but nobody ever comes back to her. So she's stuck on the top floor calling out, "Blue tape! Medic! VIP down!" And you just hear her calling, and it's like, well, you know. But she had fun.
oh yeah,
She had
it's
fun.
always good.
She definitely opted to go back. This weekend they have a special event going on. One of the vendors is coming out. So the kids won't be going out this weekend.
Okay.
I think I'm only doing Saturday because I got birthday parties, because my dad's birthday is Sunday or tomorrow, but we're celebrating on Sunday.
Okay.
So got to do that family thing. Yay.
Yes. I have a birthday party. My best friend's Crystal's party's tomorrow, 30th. Family and other half is drinking. Yay.
You sound so thrilled by this.
I'm keeping a somber tone because once I get there, I'll be like, yeah, but not right now. Keep it simmer till the drinks come out.
Okay, I take it it's a kind of a extensive wine collection, or
Oh no, it's the mixed drinks and a bunch of random
stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, I noticed there was a craft beer festival going on next month here in Chesapeake.
Oh yes.
So,
Might
unfortunately, it
have to check
happens to be the same weekend I'll be doing the drive to Wisconsin, so I can't partake.
There's a wine fest in Chesapeake in the fall. You can try that. And a Neptune Wine Fest.
I think I could be persuaded.
Neptune Wine Fest in the fall too.
I think I'll stay away from Virginia Beach.
And there's an Oyster Fest in Chesapeake.
There's also a crab thing going on too, so it's like seafood and
I think I'm
booze.
just gonna be living
what could
here.
go wrong?
I think I'm just gonna be chilling here then.
Well, yeah. See, it's a great place to hang out.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
Alrighty, so what are we gonna work on this week? Oh, movie reviews.
The return of the reviews, because I actually did go to the theater.
You did
Oh,
great.
yes.
What'd you see?
I saw the remake of The Lion King,
All right.
2019.
This one was kind of anticipated. I know we talked about it. And
Oh, yeah.
me personally, I was like, why it's it's just a different type of animation at this point.
Oh yeah, it's a different format. Instead of all the other ones, which were pretty much Disney has gone into their vault to grab their animated tales to make it live action. Doing this one, they did it like they did the Jungle Book, which is the same director, Jon Favreau.
Mm-hmm.
So he did this with the same kind of technology he used for the Jungle Book. So technically, it's all CGI, but with the realistic capture. So that's where my intrigue came in, because as most of people know, Lion King is my favorite Disney movie of all time.
Yeah.
So
who doesn't like hearing James Earl Jones talk about the circle and everything the light touches and telling you to remember what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, remember who you are.
So
but
I mean,
that's a good thing.
Powerful.
Yeah, they brought him back to voice Mufasa, so that's a plus.
I don't think they could have done anybody else.
Going into the movie, like any remake, it doesn't matter if it's Disney, Fox, any studio, animated to live action.
You take
it doesn't
it
matter.
as it is.
Yeah,
you don't try to compare it to what it was.
Because if you do that, you're going to ruin your experience, no matter what you're watching.
I think it would be really hard to do that with Lion King because there are like 4 different versions.
Oh yeah, but
we have the original Lion King. We have Lion King 1.5. We have Lion King after the success of the Broadway musical. Hell, we had the Broadway musical Lion King. So
and they're all over the place, but
I mean, how many different ways can you do this? And the phone's ringing.
But back to the roars.
Okay.
Okay, so like I said, it doesn't matter what is being remade. I never compare it because it will ruin your experience nonchalantly. So going into the movie, preface the fact the first line, the animated Disney Lion King is my favorite Disney movie of all time. So put that aside. So this remake is a visual masterpiece. Like just watching them recapture, it's the same story from beginning, middle, end. Maybe with a little extensions, maybe changing in dialogue, voice cast, but pretty much it's the same story beat by beat. So going into knowing that, where the pluses come in on this movie is the visualization of the realism of the animals. So seeing those stuff happen, the certain scenes happening with real animals, captures the moment in a very different way. So you have a different perspective with the familiar. So when Simba's growing up, or he goes to the Shadowlands like he's not supposed to, when Mufasa dies, and when Timon and Pumbaa come in, and all the few sing-along songs along the way, you get a different feel.
Okay.
Whether you get a strong emotional reaction or not, that's the person to decide. But for me, I was able to fall in to the realism that was being captured on the screen. Not all the voice acting was on par, but for the most part, it was good. The important moments in the first half did strike you. I gotta ask this: were the hyenas in this one as memorable? Memorable? In what way? Like you gotta define memorable.
The combination of with Whoopi Goldberg and the person who did Ed and the I can't remember the other one, but just the way the three of them played off each other, audio and listen their chemistry and how they talked and then their chemistry with Scar. So kind of their
chemistry is good,
as memorable as the original, because that was one of those things I was really concerned with. Because some things
they don't play off cliches. That's a plus. They're their own thing. So how you capture it, say memorable when you see it, is a whole different thing. For me, they were good. They had good chemistry. They had good comedic timing when they did come in. They didn't go overbearing with the comedy, and their relationship with Scar was very mutual respect. I got something you want, you got something I want, let's take out Mufasa and then we get both what we want, kind of deal. But that's, if you know the story of the Lion King, that's verbatim. Where the movie truly kicked in for me was when Timon and Pumbaa showed up. When they two showed up, that genuine emotional feeling that I had for the animated tale came back. And then it kicked into the song for Hakuna Matata, and then it just went stellar from that point. So even though the familiar is the same, the emotional rode higher from that to the end.
Okay. So what were the drawbacks?
The drawbacks is...
I've read the review, so
yeah.
this is a leading question.
Oh, yeah.
What were some of the drawbacks?
The drawback was the fact that it was the same. It's the same story. So when you look at all the remakes that Disney's have done, they have changed it up just a little bit.
Oh,
it looked like the director was Jon Favreau knew what kind of property he was adapting, so he didn't want to take too many risks. It looked like he didn't want to take too many risks with the story. He was focused on the visuals, which is fine because, like I said, it's a visual masterpiece.
Now, is this the same one that the last one they did where they added in the songs that were in the Broadway show?
No, all the songs that were that they played, the songs that they played in the movie were from the movie.
From the original
yes.
movie?
Yeah.
The original 90s release?
Yes.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's different people singing, so you would like...
Well, yeah, I get the difference. Like, there's one of them, like Morning Report is the one that really comes to mind.
Yeah.
That was a song that was introduced in the Broadway musical that Zazu sings. And then one of the re-releases of The Lion King after that is there was a whole new segment where they were talking, where they were doing they had Zazu sing Morning Report in the movie.
He doesn't sing it. He just gives the morning report to Mufasa.
Then it's packed to the original mid-90s release.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, like, reiterating, the familiarity is there, but there's no ruin of the experience because it's a whole different perspective of what is being told. So because of that, and because of some of the charm that happened and some of the endearing moments still were endearing, I gave it a 3.5 out of 5, a matinee. So it's a fun time at the theaters.
Definitely go check it out in theater.
It would be it's fun for the family. You wouldn't be wasting money to see it if if you're one person that, like, if it's the familiar and you're like it's not go at a matinee. Otherwise, it's fun. It's fun.
How about from a technology standpoint, the motion capture and the facial capture.
It's insane.
And translating that.
It's insane.
Because definitely the bone structure of a human face versus the bone structure of a warthog or a lion.
Man.
And to give that emotion because you're going for the realism of the animal and then have this articulated human face. And we realized things were definitely up there with Smog.
Oh, yeah.
And then Jon Favreau's Lion King,
it puts all everything like that to shame because it's so photorealistic to the point that you believe that they're real animals talking.
Nice.
Yeah. And I can't reiterate the fact, like, when Timon and Pumbaa come on the screen, it is a delight.
See, I've got that image in my head now, just from the animated. It's like, huh, huh, huh.
They do their own. The voice actors do their own spin on some of the comedy elements, but it's pure gold.
Nice. All right, so that was the only film we saw.
That's the only film, and the next one coming up is Quentin Tarantino's movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And the word on the street is this is probably his masterpiece. Like, this is the one where he comes full circle as a filmmaker. That's what I'm hearing on the street. So I'll be the judge of that.
I'm sure you will.
Oh yes, my word is fine.
Is that the only one on the docket this weekend?
Just for this weekend, and then next weekend is the insanely crazy I Want to See It explosion, a rock and stadium bromance film, Hobbs and Shaw. So back to back fun weekends at the theater.
Is it normally this part of the end of the summer?
This is the end of
the
summer.
Where it seems like there's not a lot of films coming out. Because
Yeah.
I remember it's a few weeks back, a month or so, it's like, I went and I saw this, and this, and I've got 4 reviews to write in 3 days, and I don't know how I'm going to get...
See, what usually happens for me when it gets to the tail end of the summer, I've already caught up on a lot of the blockbusters. The last hurrahs are usually the end of July, beginning of August. So then August is when I try to catch up on the smaller films that I might have missed, or the indie films, all the other kind of films that I might have missed. So,
okay.
Because mid-August through September, if you remember from one of the previous podcasts, that's the dead months. That's where the they dump the films that they don't really care about. They're kind of there. It's the dumping ground. So, you know,
Well,
we'll
I
see.
didn't go to the theaters, but I did rent an animated movie. I watched the third Resident Evil animated Vendetta.
Okay.
I kind of like the CG stuff. I like how they kind of worked with that. I felt it was overall it wasn't bad, but it felt more action, less horror.
Okay.
Unlike the previous ones.
Did it retell any of the game stories or brought in any of the characters?
The only tie-in to the games. This is a completely original story.
Okay.
But the only tie-in is it's Leon Kennedy and Chris Redfield and somebody else that Chris knows. She was a medic with stars in Raccoon City, so it's probably a minor character from the Raccoon City games.
Okay.
But this is somebody has weaponized a virus again, and he's just upset that somebody dropped a drone on his wedding, so he's a little upset over that.
Yeah, that would be disappointing.
I can't blame him, but but it was they definitely dialed up the action elements of that more than the horror elements.
Okay.
I mean, the horror stuff was kind of predictable, but the overall action and this is from a technical standpoint of like a CG computer animation type of thing. These are very quick actions. Some of it seemed a little unrealistic that the body could do it, but it was very appealing to watch.
Did they use a lot of shaky cam for the action, or did they focus on the action?
I would probably say shaky cam, and then it was just the moving around. I mean, you kind of get your vibe from the Matrix camera angles, and then some of the other stuff. Overall, it's not bad. I would definitely, if you're going to get the three of them together.
Okay.
The other one is just kind of a nostalgic piece. As I rewatched Transformers the movie, the 1986 animated.
Probably considered the best one of everyone.
Oh, hands down.
Oh yes.
Hands down, the best Transformers film. And so much as far as nostalgia and just a nice little time capsule of the 80s, which is something the behind the extra footage stuff where the guys talk about making it and how shocking it was, the reaction. But yeah, it's just this nice time capsule of the 80s.
Oh yeah, that definitely is an animated film that captures the 80s.
Oh, it was like,
and it's
the thing is, it was only like $5 on on iTunes.
Yeah, it's a $5 worth spending.
Totally worth it. But nostalgia. My daughter Zoe watched it for the first time.
How did she like it?
Well, she was kind of in and out, but when she did watch it, she was like, "Wait, what? No!" I mean, it just grabbed her in the feels.
The feels when our boy.
Oh, when Prime dies.
Oh yeah. They did some dirty stuff on some of those Transformers in there.
Well, remember, we're ending the 85 toy line.
Oh yes.
And we're introducing the 86 toy line.
There's always a purpose.
That was the whole point of the film. This was nothing more than a marketing ploy for the new toy line, and it's like they had no concept of how influential these characters were, and even the director was like Prime's death. It's like he's in a hospital bed. There's monitors. You're watching the monitors flatline. You're watching him die, and then it's like he just doesn't. Because earlier you have other Transformers die, and it's like the lights go out and they fall down. No,
when Optimus dies,
it's like his hand drops, his whole color palette darkens, and his head turns to the side. It's like he's dead.
Yes, it's a sad thing for us 80s babies.
But it's still such a pivotal scene, because I remember seeing it as a kid in theaters.
We did get to see Unicron in it.
The original Unicron, OG Unicron.
Hopefully they never adapt him into a cloud. Sorry.
No.
Please don't do
If
it.
they did, I'm sure Orson Welles will come back and just beat the crap out of somebody.
He'll just walk off the plank and just die.
But so other movie news. What else we got in other movie news?
Well, there's a lot of breaking box office records.
Oh yeah,
across the board.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Kind of a nice little segue. Really iconic and stuff. It's like, all right. So let's see. So Lion King broke broke your records as well.
Yeah, it broke Disney's record for highest grossing for all their remakes at 184 million over the weekend domestically.
184.
Well, 185.
185
yes.
million.
Okay. I can't write, but yeah, 185 million.
Oh, that's just domestic.
That's just domestic. Worldwide,
it tells you
is double that.
The Lion King just prints money.
Oh yeah, you just say Lion and people are running to the theaters.
Oh yeah. All right. Let's see. Endgame finally
snapped them cats out of existence. Became numero uno.
Do you think they really needed to do the remake, or the re-release? I
think the re-release helped because they were projecting around 30-40 for the re-release, but they only got like 20. But still, that was more if they were to just keep it in theaters as is.
Well, obviously it's still in theaters.
Yeah, it's still in theaters.
And it's supposed to be available for digital purchase in like a week.
Oh yeah, so it'll still be in theaters until the Blu-ray 4K discs drop. So that's about mid-August. So it's still going to be making a chunk of change. So it's going to be building on top of that. And another fact is they might not have to worry about Avatar catching back up to them because you do know Avatar is owned by Fox, and you know who owns Fox now.
Yeah, it's infighting.
Yeah, so Disney's going to be like, you know what? Nah, we're going to keep Avengers up here.
Well, until the next Avatar comes out.
Do you foresee the Avatar 2 to break Endgame? With it being out of the social culture this long?
Maybe.
Because I remember
anything is possible. Nobody thought a comic book movie, these comic book movies, superhero movies would be making this much money.
That is true.
You look at the last few years, every time they have
it's billion every time.
They've really been nailing it. Speaking of billions, we got another Disney remake, Aladdin, that despite people's best criticisms broke $1 billion in the box office.
Oh yes.
Tom Holland as Spider-Man for Far From Home, as you were saying, the first Spider-Man movie break $1 billion.
Oh yeah, so Sony is definitely mooching off that moolah with that partnership with Marvel because
partnership with Sony on that.
Yeah, because any Spider-Man movie, all the proceeds go to Sony. Mm-hmm. So having that Marvel brand on there is helping them out in the long run.
Definitely. Sony could definitely benefit from that. So
yeah, and going back to Aladdin, there was a lot of criticism of that movie coming out, and they didn't think it would make the money. Now we see it's crossed the $1 billion mark.
Yeah, it's making money hand over fist.
And I always believed it would make money because one, Aladdin is a timeless classic, and two, no matter what you say, Will Smith is still a box office draw.
He does good things for the community. He's personable, and he's a hard worker.
Oh, yeah.
Regardless of what criticisms there is, he definitely comes to work and works.
He put in the work for that movie. Because he gave his own spin, his personality. He made sure it was his own and not mimic Robin Williams.
Yeah, so and he's got talent.
Well, yes, he has a lot of movies and a lot of he is a musician, so he does have talent.
He's got a lot of talent. So we'll see what how his next project does. I think it's Spies in Disguise.
No, Gemini Man is the next one before that.
Oh, okay. Gemini Man, that'll be interesting.
Oh yeah.
So anything else movie on that front? No. I guess we can use movies as transition into last weekend was ComicCon.
Oh yes.
And we did a pre-ComicCon where we talked what we thought, we might see, and now post ComicCon we've had our mind blown.
There was definitely blowing of the mind.
So I think the best thing to kick it off is let's kick off with another movie talk discussion, and that is The Need for Speed with Maverick.
Oh yes, the man of the hour, Tom Cruise, brought the trailer for Top Gun Maverick to Comic-Con. I did not see this coming. This was a left field introduction.
Did you watch the YouTube video for it?
I watched it quite a few times.
Or it's like Kono was like, "No, y'all need to hear this." It's like, what's going on? It's like, the man, Tom Cruise.
Oh yes, Tom Cruise is near and dear to my heart. Especially, he is considered the action guy now. Even closing on 60, he's doing all these crazy stunts in all these movies and still looking prime in them.
And the thing is it's nice because Top Gun, a lot of people have said Top Gun is what changed his career.
Oh yes,
he was like the rom-com king.
Risky Business and all them
Cocktail,
movies. Yes.
all that, up until Top Gun.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden he can start talking the action film.
Oh yeah, because Top Gun, Days of Thunder, a plethora of other movies, and Mission Impossible, to name a few.
Yeah, so I mean, just kind of jumped in there.
But yeah, that trailer, when I watched that trailer and I heard the dong and some of the simmering of the soundtrack, I started getting giddy. And then when them jets went,
Kenny
it was just
Loggins,
like,
man. Kenny Loggins.
hands up!
Seeing Ed Harris in there, I mean,
It'll be interesting to see what
how
they do.
how much of the original cast is back.
How much of the original cast, how they tie it back to the original. Are they going to go a whole different route? Is Maverick going to be an instructor? Because the way they made it, he hasn't really done a lot in 30 years other than just chilled.
It's something. I mean, it's like something. Obviously, it's that whole end of an era, or end of an era with his particular brand of flying.
Oh yeah, but
so and I think based on some of the flight suit stuff, he's getting into some test flights.
Oh yeah, and just a tidbit we read today, Tom Cruise made sure that every cast member knew how to command a jet.
Yeah, it's definitely not something your average pilot's going to be able to get their hands on.
So it definitely is going to be interesting to see. It was just a teaser trailer of sorts. There's no story beats, no nothing, and we still have to wait a year before it comes out. So
I'm perfectly okay with this.
Oh yes,
perfectly okay with this. All right, so what else we got from ComicCon? Obviously, we have the big elephant in the room, Marvel. So we hold off on that, or just
I think we should leave that for last. Leave the big boy for last.
All right.
We can dabble in DC.
Dabble in DC. Yep. So it looks like a new animated Superman Red Sun.
Oh yeah, they're adapting that comic storyline from.
If I remember right, Red Sun, that is the version of the comic where what if Kal-El landed in Russia versus Kansas.
Oh yeah, so basically the just a summarization of the comic line, like comic, he goes to Russia and he becomes a man for the Soviets. So he's the one doing the bidding for them. So it's a whole different what if the Superman was working for the USSR instead of America.
That'd be interesting.
Yes.
Alright. Let's see. Next up, I mean, there's a lot of there's obviously DC stuff, but for the things that caught our attention, like for me, I'm a fan of the Arrowverse. And then we're talking this year's crossover is going to be the Crisis of Infinite Earth storyline.
It's a very big storyline to adapt.
It's huge. And the way they were talking is it'll be all 5 shows, and it'll be a 2-month story. They'll do 3 episodes, and then they'll do their winter hiatus, and then they'll come back and start off with the next 2 episodes in the to wrap it up.
Oh yes.
So, and that seems impressive considering this is the last year of Arrow. They're introducing Batwoman and all this stuff going on. But another cool thing for as far as a movie and actor is the actor Brandon Roth, who is playing the Atom in Legends of Tomorrow.
Oh yes.
Some of us know the name because he did Superman in the film Superman Returns.
The Bryan Singer Superman.
Which is which I think is the first Superman post Christopher Reeves.
Yes, it's the first one after Superman 4.
And it didn't do so well in the box office.
No.
Didn't do well on making a franchise. But the reason I bring it up is Brandon Roth will be returning to the role of Superman for this Crisis of Infinite Earth event. And I thought that was just amazingly hilarious.
Oh yeah.
Especially because the first crossover event where they brought in Supergirl, little bit, if nobody caught it, was at the end of the episode where they're all kind of hanging out,
Yeah.
before Cora goes back to her Earth, Brandon Roth and somebody else are talking, and he goes, "You know what? She kind of reminds me of my cousin." So people who know that he played Superman, that was a nice little inside nod to the franchise. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it definitely gives another spin to the story, because Crisis of Infinite Earth has multiple characters of the same, so it's a good way to give
different versions, and they introduced that with the multiverse. But yeah, Brandon Roth is Superman. The actor who's doing Superman for Supergirl, he'll be there. So we'll have 3 supers.
A lot of supers to go around. A lot of heavy punches.
So yeah, that'll be
fun.
That will be fun. All right, some other stuff. They announced the end of Supernatural. Looks like this will be the final season of Supernatural.
Yeah. That's going to be a heartbreaker for a lot of people that follow the show.
Especially the fandom and how long that show's been running.
Isn't it like 17 seasons, or am I getting the count wrong?
I think this will be 15.
Okay, just a couple of numbers up. But
Either way, though,
run.
how many television seasons, series,
Yeah.
can you name that cross the 10-year mark?
There's not that many that cross, and the only one that's even gotten really high is The Simpsons.
Simpsons is up there. Yeah. Big Bang Theory did 12 years, and they
crossed the 10. Friends did 10, I believe, or crossed the 10. Seinfeld, I think, was one of the other ones that got into the big numbers.
And these are all the pivotal pop culture
but
icons.
most TV series end before the 10, and the reason is because if you know in the TV world, there is a term called jumping the shark, and you'll get to a point in telling the story where it becomes repetitive and stuff. So once you cross a certain mark, which is usually hovering around the 10th season, the shows start to go downhill from there.
Well, I think Supernatural is different because the showrunners have changed several times, and the arcing concept behind the show changed 3 different times. And they were also unabashedly willing to just dive right into their own story and become self-aware. I mean, there were so many episodes where it's like, oh, hey, this is a supernatural convention because this guy wrote books about Sam and Dean. Oh, hey, they go through a portal and they come out, and it's Jensen goes. It's like.
But the one thing you did mention, what keeps a good show running, or keeps shows at least, above average, is changing the showrunner. Because if you keep the same showrunner, which a showrunner for TV is the equivalent of a director for movie. So if you keep it through the same, stories will start lacking, aka the Transformer Michael Bay films. What you can say about the movies. The first one was at least entertaining, but
that was a moth.
Okay. The first one was at least entertaining, but because it's Bay and his Bayisms, they kicked into high gear the further they went out, and it went away from what the Transformers were supposed to be. But going back, when you have different showrunners, it puts new lifeblood into the story.
Yeah, and changing stuff up, and it's endured. So I've got into the show, and I am not up to date with the show because
it's a lot of seasons.
It is, and I want to catch up to it because the goal is to work toward the Scooby-Doo episode.
Which season is that in?
That was the not the one that just wrapped, the one before. They did an episode where Sam, Dean, and Castiel were sucked into a Scooby-Doo cartoon, and they had the voice cast for Scooby-Doo, and they had to solve a mystery.
That's just hilarious. It makes me want to go and watch it now.
And everybody who grew up watching Scooby-Doo or whatever, hearing some of the stuff. I've heard bits and pieces, but I really want to check it out.
Yes. So that'll be one show that'll be missed, but you can always watch the reruns.
Oh yeah. So next up, we have probably one of our favorite comic nerds, and that is Kevin Smith.
Yeah, he is a comic book nerd. If there was like a king of nerds, he would be up near the top of that list.
Speaking of bucket list travel ideas, I would love to go to New Jersey to visit his shop.
That would be nice to see. That would definitely be a. Let's add it to our bucket list. And we already added it. Done.
Sweet. All right, so new Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah, they dropped the trailer for the new Jay and Silent Bob. I've caught a couple eyes of it. Whether I'm going to watch it or not, but just the idea that Jay and Silent Bob are back on the big screen does bring a smile on my face because
I think this one is like Jay had a kid and they're exploring fatherhood or some.
That's just hilarious.
Some shenanigans.
I'll probably see it and give a review, so I'll come back either with giggles or WTFs.
Yeah, and then seeing a lot of the various people who show up in the previous films.
Oh yeah, they're bringing back a lot of people that they didn't think that would come back, but
well, that's always a bonus.
Kevin Smith is buddies with people like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, so it's hard for them to say no.
I mean, come on, that's like virtually every one of them. You have one or two of them in there.
He's always in there. Sometimes they're in there twice, but playing two different characters.
Yes. All right, then we have. I want to hold off on that.
Okay.
What is this? The Halloween sequels?
Yeah. Blumhouse went and dropped the release dates for the Halloween sequels that are building off of the reintroduced remake. So 2020 and 2021 is going to be called Halloween Kills in 2020 and Halloween Ends in 2021. So that pretty much gives a hint that finite, that's the last maybe of the Halloweens.
Yeah, but slasher films just don't die.
Yeah, because people love slasher films.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is that they're keeping Jamie Lee Curtis and everything intact from the remake, so it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens in those two.
Okay, so now we'll talk about that one because I actually am really liking that. And that is, they had the trailer for The Witcher.
Oh, yes. When I saw that they dropped the trailer, this was one thing I was hoping they were going to drop at ComicCon because all we've seen is, like, words, who's playing roles, pictures. So you can't really judge off pictures because, I do photography. You can't really judge if you don't know what you're doing.
Oh, yeah.
The trailer
especially
dropped.
when you realize, oh, this is a bad shot. Give me a few minutes in Photoshop.
Yes.
It'll be a good shot.
Let's clean it up. Now we got a model.
Yeah.
But yeah, the trailer dropped and I watched it, and then I paused, and then I watched it another 10 times. So that pretty much gives off I am super hella excited for this show.
I can't wait. I've only seen it once, but it was
from everything I see, this looked like this could be the video game adaptation that breaks that wall of bad taste in people's mouths. Minus the Castlevania animated tale, but that's an animated film. This is an actual live action, so maybe this will be the one to push video game adaptation to the screen in a better light.
Oh yeah, especially with the Netflix back on there.
So, but I believe it going on Netflix and then making it a series is a much better route for at least the content they're adapting. Because there's so much, like you mentioned, they have a lot of books. They also have all the games. There's so much story from end to end that a series makes the most sense.
Yeah, especially if you're starting from the beginning.
Oh, yes.
Because, unless you're one of those nerds who just read all the books.
I just played the game.
See?
Yeah.
So, alright. I guess we can't avoid it anymore. Let's talk MCU. Oh, wait.
We got one more.
Oh, that's right. Another one, sci-fi, and that is there was some news from the upcoming Terminator Dark Fate. Not only did Linda Hamilton come back, which we all saw from the trailer.
Oh yeah, she was blowing Terminators left and right with her big bazooka.
But apparently another Judgment Day alum is coming back.
Yeah, Eddie Furlong is coming back to his role.
He has been under the radar for so long now.
Yeah, he's been chilling somewhere.
I think I saw him do Judgment Day, I saw him do Pet Sematary 2, and then I hadn't seen him do another thing.
Yeah. Probably could not get any roles, but...
Probably didn't want any roles.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. You do a role that's that impactful, you're kind of done. I mean, heard a lot of stories of actors, like, I did this role, this became a phenomenon type of role, and I just want to own a farm somewhere and just be left alone.
But he's not going to be left alone now since it was confirmed he's going to be in this movie. So it gives the movie a little more credence that they are taking it serious and that they're going to try to make it as close as great as the first two instead of the last three.
Well, I mean, Cameron's producing, not directing, so.
But he had a lot of say in the script, so hopefully it plays in his favor.
Well, I think that's kind of just the whole elder statesman thing. It's like, I think you should go this way. Yes, Mr. Cameron. Whatever you say, Mr. Cameron.
This is your property. I bow to thee.
It's like
you will send a Terminator for me. I will listen to you.
I think now we can definitely sit there and chat Marvel.
Yes, we can open that door to glory and talk about
Marvel.
Yes.
All right. So you lead us off. What's the first thing from Marvel you want to talk about?
I'm just going to go home run because all the announcements I kind of knew that were coming, through the rumor mill and stuff. But like I mentioned when we did the pre, Marvel always comes left field with something that no one is talking about, no one is mentioning. So what came out of left field that caught my eye, well, it probably caught a lot of people's eyes, is that right before the presentation ended, Kevin Feige was like, oh yeah, by the way, Blade's part of the MCU. What? Oh no, another tidbit. Mahershala Ali is playing the new Blade. That just blew my mind. Done.
That's curious. I mean, he's definitely has some acting skill.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's a 2-time Academy Award winner.
Yes. For best supporting actor. His role as Cottonmouth was really kind of.
His role in True Detective, when we talked about the Emmys, was amazing in the season 3 of True Detective. So he's got some acting chops.
But can you see him as Blade?
He has the face. It's almost like a doppelganger of Wesley Snipes.
Almost. And everybody's going to measure that against.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping they at least find a way to have Wesley in the film. Maybe as the mentor type role character or something.
Something like that. But the only thing is the downfall with the Blade announcement, it's not part of Phase 4. It's going to be the beginning of Phase 5. So we got 3 years before we'll see any tangibility. But
it's not like it's going to be a desert while we're waiting.
Yeah, it's not like we're going to be hurting for some vampire action, because there's a lot more between now and then. It's dropping.
I mean, they did the Eternals cast. They did Black Widow. They did Winter Soldier and the Falcon.
Hawkeye.
The
What If animated series.
I can't wait to see.
So
they did that, and then the thing, probably one of the things that I'm really excited about, and that is they'll talk about Wanda and the Vision.
Yes.
And how that appears to be will lead into Doctor Strange 2, the Multiverse of Madness, and that this would be Marvel's first horror film.
Oh yes, there's a lot of multitude of things that come out of just that title alone, because it shows that there's going to be ramifications from the post-snap. 1, 2, they're introducing horror elements, so that means they can dive deep into a lot of really crazy, weird characters that Marvel has not been able to bring to the big screen. And 3, it gives an out to how they can bring Fantastic Four and X-Men into the MCU, which they announced that they are going to be joining at some point in the future.
We knew they were coming, but it's just this concept of doing a PG-13 horror film, and that it's going to be, because I think that's where Marvel does their success, and we've talked about this before.
Yes.
Marvel really nails it when they make a film and just have superhero elements.
And what makes that so great is that they pick certain individuals to direct these films that have that niche. So the person, Scott Derrickson, who's directing Doctor Strange 2, which did 1, he has a horror background. So now that he's already worked in the universe one time, now he can branch out and bring in more horror elements to the Doctor Strange character. And the fact that Scarlet Witch is going to be in there, and word is she's going to be kind of like a student to Doctor Strange as a mentor to learn her powers. So it's going to be interesting to see how it factors in.
She even sat there and said, fans will get the Witch in Scarlet Witch.
Oh, yes.
And and it seems like, because it looks like Doctor Strange will be making appearances in the Wanda and Vision show on Disney Plus.
Oh, yeah.
That if you're not watching that, you're going to miss something
If you're not watching any of the Disney Plus shows, you're going to be missing, because the one thing Kevin Feige says is that the shows and the movies are all tied in.
Oh yeah, it's all an overarching MCU. Like the Hawkeye one's going to dive into Ronin.
It's going to introduce Kate Bishop, the other Hawkeye.
Falcon and Winter Soldier, and Baron Zemo's coming back. So
and he will be wearing the traditional costume.
So it's like, this will be good. This will be good to see.
Another big thing that was, most people knew it was coming, but they made it official, the Shang-Chi movie.
Yes, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Which means they're actually going to bring in the true Mandarin into the MCU. So
I'm curious. I wanted to see how that goes.
He is a superhero, or let me rephrase that. He's not technically a superhero. He's just MCU's Grandmaster of Kung Fu. So he is a martial artist. And it's like when they introduced a lot of the heroes in the Infinity Saga, like Guardians and a few others, where I had bubbling on the surface of what they are. Mm-hmm. So it'd be a new experience for me to see this character, since I don't know a lot of his history.
Yeah, I'm not really familiar, but I like how they'll tie the Ten Rings together and all that. One of the other ones which we kind of touched on was the recent announcement was the director for Thor Ragnarok has been asked to do another Thor, and we're going to get Thor 4, Love and Thunder.
And the interesting part about this is a certain actress is coming back to play Jane Foster, and not to mention she's going to be the female Thor.
Because that comic line introduced female Thor, and Natalie Portman coming back to the MCU. That got my eyebrow raised, because she left on pretty ugly terms, and every other actor who has left Marvel, the MCU, on a bad terms, never has been approached to come back that I know of.
Yeah, there could have been a multitude of reasons, but it could be the fact that she knows that the director that's doing this movie, Taika Waititi, is he did a great job with Ragnarok, and she probably thinks that he would be able to bring out the greatness of her character on the screen, especially that she's going to be the female Thor.
She's an Oscar award actress. She should know how to bring her character out on the screen. She seemed flat. Yeah. So
sometimes that is also, even if you're a great actor or actress and run awards, it's who's directing. So if the director can't work with you, there could be a disconnect. So
yeah, very much.
But yeah,
that's a lot.
A lot of stuff.
ComicCon.
The Black Widow, they did show footage and stuff at ComicCon, and they did introduce that the villain's going to be Taskmaster.
Yeah, I don't think they announced who's playing Taskmaster, but there's a lot of people in there.
Oh yeah, and it's going to take place, because everybody wondering, they're going to have a Black Widow movie. How's that? Well, it's going to take place in the prequel, so it takes place between Civil War and Infinity War, and it's also going to finally explain what happened in Budapest.
Yes, because everybody wants to know what happened in Budapest.
Oh yes,
it's like you and I remember Budapest very differently.
Oh yes, and now we finally get to see.
Yes, so that'll be good.
It'll be this next phase will be definitely interesting. So, like you mentioned earlier, the Eternals. It's another property I'm unfamiliar with, so get to see that on the big screen will be interesting. So there's a lot of titles in there.
They're supposed to predate the current timeline.
Oh yeah, it's supposed to be the history of the MCU, so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
All right. So
that's pretty much all that we got from ComicCon.
Yeah, that was ComicCon. Well, I guess some follow-ups to some stuff we talked about previously. Now we can move on to our last topic for the evening, and that was there was some announcement on the Regal Unlimited we talked about.
Yeah, well, a few podcasts ago we talked about that Regal was going to introduce a
subscription
service to go coincide against AMC's A-List.
Yeah.
So.
And it's like, so apparently recently they just announced pricing for that?
Yeah, they have 3 different tiers ranging from $18 to $23. So the $18 is going to be, they're all unlimited plans, but the tiers factor in how many theaters you can go to. So the $18, you can only go to 200 select theaters nationwide.
I guarantee they're probably going to be all the top markets.
Yeah, probably New York, Chicago, Miami,
Seattle.
LA, Seattle. Yeah. The next tier, the Unlimited Plus, is $21, and that'll be 400 theaters nationwide.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe that might cover us.
All right. So $23.50 is the high tier, the unlimited all access, and pretty much self-explanatory. You can go to any of the Regal theaters.
Any theater across the country.
But there's some kickback from this. Is like none of these tiers include the special events. So if there's anything in 4DX, IMAX, recliners, 3D, there's an extra surcharge up to $3.
It sounds like we're getting into that nickel and diming.
Oh yeah, that's what they like to do. And some other extra stuff. You get 10% off food and beverages. No blackout dates, so it works anytime, any place, any movie.
10% off food and beverages. I mean, come on. How much does a soda cost at the movie theater now? Like $10?
$6.
$6. So 10% off that, I save 60 cents.
Yeah. Hey, 60. Ooh, yeah. It's still good enough, but free large popcorn and drink on your birthday. So that's a plus.
Yeah.
It is interesting that Regal is starting this, and they're starting a different kind of service, unlike AMC. So
well, you have AMC, so obviously you've already gotten. You're seeing that. The bigger difference you were talking.
The bigger difference is that unlike Regal, where it's unlimited, AMC A-List is you get three free tickets each week, and it's any format. So there's no extra surcharge to go to an IMAX, a Dolby Cinema, a 3D, any kind of stuff.
Well, as we were talking in the pre-show, it sounds like the Regal thing is per person.
Yes.
Whereas AMC, it's like you could have one person who has it, and then two of your friends can go with you to catch films.
Yes.
Or you can catch 3 different films.
And the A-List is $21.95 a month.
It's not terrible.
So, but when you look at it, like the unlimited is something that everybody thinks is the dream. But if everybody fails to recall, there was another service that tried to do that called Movie Pass, and it didn't work.
Didn't work?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, what is your take on the unlimited pass versus what AMC has? Because I know you mentioned viability before.
When thinking about it, it seems like I'm not sure. I'm not sure how you're really going to make a lot of money with this. But then again, as I was sitting there thinking about it, a lot of those rewards programs aren't profitable per se to the host organization. They're a nice thing to get buzz and get people to come in. But for every person who has it, you're going to have people who don't.
Oh yeah.
And you're going to have people who don't utilize it to pass the break-even point. Because that's the thing with a lot of things. It's like there's a break-even point with any of that.
So, yeah, say you get the $18, but that's only $200 200 theaters nationwide. Which theaters? You have no idea, but you made the bet that it's probably the bigger markets. So you're probably going to have to go the unlimited access route.
Well, and that shows you which region you live in.
Yeah.
If you live in a market, which is your major metro areas, then yeah, $18 a month, no biggie.
Yeah. But it is kind of interesting they leave out all the special stuff, whereas AMC, you get that free ticket, doesn't matter what format it is.
Yeah, but AMC limits it by you get 3 tickets.
Yeah.
It isn't like, okay, because you could really get, this is where the difference, like the Regal side, it's, with AMC, it's like, I can get 3 tickets. I get 3 of their top tier seat, right? IMAX and all that fun stuff, which we know is like $20 a ticket.
Yes.
Regal, it's like each person, you can go to a movie every night of the week with their unlimited thing, but they're saving money on the fact they're only the standard film.
Yes.
You want to start getting into 3D, IMAX, Dolby Surround, all that. Yeah, that kind of discourages you from really using it.
So yeah, it's a give and take. Where AMC is, you can go any format, but it's limited to 3 a week.
Yeah.
Where Regal is, it's unlimited, but different depending on the tier will factor in what you pay depending on where you live.
All right. So I guess we'll keep an eye on that. See how
it's definitely
see how it goes.
What you have to factor in also is movie going habits.
Yeah.
Like, which one is more of a benefit to your habits. Where when I look at it, the habit for me would be the A-list, just because of the accessibility to better formats.
I'm looking at it as far as I don't really live close to a Regal.
Yes, or AMC.
I mean, I live close, relatively speaking, for Hampton Roads.
Yeah.
But I'm closer to one of the local independent film theater chains that's local to this area. I'm only 15 minutes from there. It's like, I'm going to go there.
Yeah. So locality also always factors into
locality and price, because you know what? I don't need the 3D and the IMAX and the Dolby Surround. I just want to watch a film.
Oh yeah, I don't like the 3D either. But those Dolby Cinema
3D only works if they use the cameras to shoot 3D. If you just tack it on later, it's always gimmicky.
That's why I said the only two movies that have been great in 3D that I've seen was Gravity and Avatar.
Yes.
Because they were filmed in 3D.
They were filmed with cameras? Oh,
yes.
That's good. Alright, so, last thing, do we want to talk about it, or do we want to just kind of, because we're starting to, I can see you're starting to fade.
No, I'm just leaning on the table. I'm good.
Just leaning?
I'm just leaning.
You're not falling asleep?
Nope.
Alright, I know I've yawned a few times, so I'm not trying to just project it onto you, but...
Yawn.
Yeet! Alright, so, last thing we'll talk about tonight, and then we'll call it, is I just finished catching up on Stranger Things.
Season 3.
Oh, season 3, episode 3, third chapter, third book. I mean, it's so hard to tell. It's definitely the third iteration. I've got to say, I am definitely whole on hooked. I can't wait to see what happens in the fourth installment.
Yes, season 3. I'm a big fan of Stranger Things. So, the first two seasons have got me hyped. The first season was straight 80s and nostalgia. Second season built onto that, but actually built more onto the lore of the characters and the Upside Down.
Okay.
Third season, I think, did a great balance between that nostalgia and the lore, because it didn't dive too heavy in either or. They kind of just blended together seamlessly. So even though there was 80 references, it wasn't blatant. It was kind of there. And when they were building the characters and the lore, they weren't just forcing in the sci-fi. It was kind of just there. So when certain things happened in the beginning of the season to a certain character, and then he became kind of the go-to to get everything else, it was pretty unpredictable from that point on, because you really didn't know what the creature from the Upside Down was going to do, what the third party was going to do with trying to get back to the Upside Down, and all the other randomness around with the characters aging and going from middle to high school. So you had to play on that factor of a coming of age tale.
Oh yeah, and then a couple of them post high school.
Oh yes. Overall, season 3 is probably my favorite of the 3 seasons, and like you said, it's gotten me excited for the 4th season, and curious to see if there's going to be any more like shocking deaths, or just because season 3 brought in a lot more deaths than the first two.
Yeah.
So
if you haven't watched it, you should definitely watch it, because we're going to kind of touch on that, and then we'll shift into our spoiler section for the bonus feature.
Super bonus.
So
you don't want to go in the Upside Down. Trust me.
No. You might wind up in Russia.
Yes. You might. Yeah. Might be there. With the Red Scare. So.
But yeah, I thought it was. I like season 1. Now I pretty much binged all the way through because Zoe wanted to watch it. So we were just powering through over the last several weeks. But just hitting 1, 2, 3, and then seeing the story evolve, and then really kind of hilarious is you watch the Beyond Stranger Things, which is the little behind the scenes stuff they did for the second season. You realize it's like, man, they really took some of that and ran with it for the third season.
Oh yes,
because it almost seems like there's foreshadowing. So when you see those elements, you're just like, oh, so I was hoping they would do that.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
But I thought it was good. I thought it blended a lot, and you're right. There was definitely a lot more death.
Oh yeah, there's a lot more people dying in this season.
I'm sure
no holes barred.
I'm sure somebody somewhere has got statistics on how many deaths
Yeah.
per season.
And this show has a finite beginning, middle, end. So I believe season 4 might be the last.
Yes, they said that there's the brothers who did this said there's a distinct beginning, middle, and end. They're not going to just push this on and on.
Push it on Walking Dead style.
Yeah, which The Walking Dead finally came to a close.
The main series?
Mm-hmm. The main comic.
Oh, the main comic, yeah.
And then they merged Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead.
Yeah.
They're
Okay.
now merged.
Okay, that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I lost touch with that show.
I gave up on it.
I was pre-Negan.
Oh yeah,
I haven't watched any of the Negan stuff.
The Walking Dead is a perfect example of them just rehashing same storylines without moving forward.
Yeah, I mean,
all it is just a different skin palette on a character.
True, but so overall, what would you give season 3?
If I were to give season 3 would be my 4-star.
4-star?
Yeah, 4-star.
I'd go with that. I would definitely. Some of the episodes were a little slower than others, so that would be why I don't give it. I'd probably go definitely a strong 4, but definitely not. I don't think it's quite there for a 5. Every episode just had to nail it, and there were some moments it was just so corny.
Yeah, I mean, even though it was corny, it was still hilarious. Some of them.
Oh yeah,
They played the cheese perfect, especially in the mall.
The whole concept of the mall.
It just brought me back to childhood.
That was, I mean, last season 2 we had the arcade. There was a lot of foreshadowing for what happens in the season through the arcade.
Yeah.
And then with this one we have the mall, and it's like
Starcourt.
Yeah. So really,
it's like, did you really have to keep showing me the old Gap? Seriously, I'm a shopaholic. It doesn't help me to see it.
All right. I mean, it wasn't much, but it was definitely, I had fun watching it. I'm definitely wanting to watch it again. I really hope there was a Beyond Stranger Things 3 just to hear more of the cast stuff.
They might drop one, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. Well, with that, we will go ahead and call it for the evening.
All right.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you for stopping by. Hit us up. Give us likes. Give us love. Y'all have a good one.
Peace.